Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm Candice,
And I'm Rikki.
and we are missing Erin today, but for such a wonderful reason. It is her birthday.
Yay to the
Happy
birthday
birthday, Erin. So we figured we'd give her the day off. I was off last week, as you know, I was on vacation. So happy birthday to Erin. If you're in our Facebook group or on Instagram, give her a shout out today. We're really excited for her. So anyways, the two of us today. How you doing, Rikki? How's it been?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Back from vacation, got the vacation hair that's still kind of holding up.
It looks
So
fabulous.
thank you. So yeah, I think I've been doing okay, doing all right, trying to get back into the groove of things.
Yeah.
So I did step on the scale this morning. I don't think I weighed in when I went to Williamsburg because that's where I was. I was in Williamsburg, Virginia, and they changed the meeting schedule. I think I had mentioned
Oh.
that one of the things I was looking forward to doing was going to a meeting.
Hmm.
I think COVID has impacted them and they
Yeah.
closed down the center that I used to go to.
Oh
So
no.
of course I was like, well, that means I'm going to get a Pierce's barbecue sandwich because I cannot go to the meeting. But no, I had a good vacation. So
Good. I'm glad you
yeah.
had a good time, and I'm so proud of you for posting that picture of you and your baby in the water and your swimsuit and just being confident and not depriving yourself of those pictures that you and your family could share in the future of those memories. So, bravo, star. I don't
I
have
know.
one,
We're
but
so out of
bravo
the
to
loop.
you.
Overnight oats to me. I have my overnight oats next to
Yeah.
me. I figured
Okay.
that would get me started.
Cheers.
There you
This is
go.
my coffee, so
Oh,
cheers.
I was gonna say it kind of looks similar for those on the podcast. We're showing our breakfast here this morning.
Mason
Um,
bars.
but yeah, no, I think that was a big step for me, and I thank you for the appreciation. I was really kind of nervous to post it. I saw that you and Erin, I was able to watch the episode last week, even though I was streaming it from my phone, and you all did a wonderful job. But I was very kind of nervous to put it out there, but I felt empowered to kind of go out on the beach and go with my son and to not really care a lot about what other people may think
Hmm.
about what I was doing. That was the first time in a long time because you know I'm a people pleaser and I think
Uh-huh.
you are as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
To a
that was a
fault.
big one for me. But I heard you all talked about clothes and kind of getting rid of some clothes in the closet. Did
We
you?
did. And just I want to shout out one of my friends, Elizabeth. So I know she's probably listening. So hi. But not only did she help me come and reorganize my closet, but she was inspired by us and bought a ton of new clothes for herself and the to appreciate the body that she has. So I wanted to give that shout out. And I have bought a couple of fits recently, but I'm challenging myself to do the same thing. To take our own medicine, if you will, and do that. I think I'm gonna get through this summer and then have some nice clothes that I'll get when I'm preparing to go back for work. So that's my goal, but I know we're not there yet. So I'll just talk about how this week was for me. So I had an okay week. I'm still getting settled in my new place. I think most things have a place now. Boxes are unpacked, but still organizing things like the closet and just some like areas where I put things away, but it's not quite right. But just thinking about how that impacted my food week, I think I'm still like in a limbo place of like I have food at home, but I have all this space now and I'm also living by myself again. So it's like there's no one to see me go for a second helping of chips. And there's that accountability piece that I need to just get back to being accountable to myself. But working out, I started back with that and started something called Hardcore on the Floor, which I shared with you and another Peloton friend of ours. And so I started that. It has workouts for every day that include not just bike rides, but strength training, which is something that I hear a lot of people stressing that's really important with weight loss, but I think I don't prioritize. So that's something that I started this week and that I'm proud of for this week.
Well, congratulations to you, especially with the strength training, because that's an area that I kind of push to the side. I'm like a
Mm.
cardio junkie, and the strength training is not, I just don't feel confident in the weights and everything. So for you, I did see that because I think we're joined on the Apple Watch.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I think that is wonderful that you made that a challenge, and having those challenges makes it so easy too. They work out every single day, the different types of activity and movement you should do.
Exactly.
And that kind of doesn't give you an excuse. It's like, the excuse of what am I going to do today? You don't have that anymore with those types of challenges.
Yeah.
So congratulations, because you've had, with that and the move, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on for you. So
thank you.
Hope you're giving yourself a little bit of grace with the food, because one day it'll be that both are at the same time.
Yeah, I look forward to that. And I think I do have all the resources. I still have one frozen meal that Erin brought over, and I have a stock pantry. It's just a matter of the portion control, getting back to the basics with that. And my scale, I haven't seen that in months because it's been packed away. So I have that out and ready to go too.
You mean your food scale?
Yes, my food scale in the kitchen.
I was going to say, you've been telling us you've been weighing in. I should have packed mine away.
I would have been, oh guys, wow, I'm down.
Oh my God.
Every 5 pounds every week. Yeah.
I saw Erin brought you all that yummy food. I said, I need to have a reason or an excuse so that I can call her and say, Erin, I need the exact same setup to bring over. Yeah. She makes some wonderful meals, wonderful meals.
Yeah.
Oh, so you know what I was thinking about, Rikki? One of the things that I kind of struggled with while on vacation, we were talking about me in the outfit and me putting on that bathing suit, but it got me to thinking, and I've been dealing with some changes at work and things that require me to advocate for myself, maybe to the not detriment of others, but more for my value and less for somebody else's. And the people pleaser thing that we've kind of touched on in some of our prior podcasts is still rearing its ugly head in my life. And I wanted to talk about it today. I struggle with other people's opinions and thoughts mattering more than my own and what works for me. And I see a parallel in how it impacts my journey, because I will literally do whatever I can to make sure that somebody else is okay, and then somebody else's needs are met, and put mine to the back burner, whether that mean with exercise or going to meetings or going to making choices that I need to when I go to restaurants. And I don't quite know how to fix it, but I'm starting to see it impact. And it's something I want to unpack and thought we could talk about today, because I think it's going to be important for me to fix this before I can really truly see long-term change. And I wanted to see, do you struggle with the same thing?
I do. I can relate in a lot of ways. I think I'm that person who will bend over backwards if someone else needs me to, but if it's something I need, I will barely, if at all, speak up for myself. And I've seen it in the workplace, and I've seen it, in my personal life too. I can relate a lot. I have a couple examples, but one of them is I recently got a dog during the pandemic, and it's my first dog. So I think some of the anxiety I've had has been just because I don't feel like I know what I'm doing, but I have been worried to crate him because I live in a townhouse now, but I have one wall that I share with someone. And I know, like, living in an apartment, I hated when I heard a yappy dog down the hall. So I'm like, well, I don't want to be that person. So I just won't crate him. I will bend over backwards so I can have him stay with my mom or stay with a friend or take him to daycare so I don't have to crate him. But I'm not facing that. Like, if I just crate him, I can go out of the house and go to the grocery store and come back, versus having anxiety about when am I going to do this? And it's all because I'm worried about bothering someone else. And there's, common courtesy, yes. But at the same time, like, I'm paying a mortgage for this house for myself, and I can have a dog here. It's not like I'm breaking any rules. So why am I so focused on a neighbor that hasn't even told me that I've disturbed them or that my dog has disturbed them? And that's one of my challenges with people pleasing. But I think it does bleed into weight loss, because that's another thing with the meeting. Like, I want to go to the meeting. have some fears about going back to the meeting, like unrelated to the dog, but it's kind of manifested in, well, I don't want to crate him, so I will stay at home and do the virtual meetings. But I'm also, I think, fearful of, I look the same as I did before the pandemic. I'm fearful of people pleasing in that way. Like, oh, well, I should have made more progress in all of this time. What are people going to think? How am I going to be received? So I think all of that ties together in a big, neat, a messy ball of like people pleasing and not putting my own needs first.
Yeah. And I think that when you think about what we talked about with Brene Brown, there's a piece of that comes with us thinking about what we think other people are thinking, and we don't have any proof of it, but we think we know. If we think that when I put that bathing suit on and I thought that other people were going to say, oh my gosh, look at that girl walking across the beach in that. How could she do that? Could there have been some people thinking that? Maybe. But more often than not, or more likely, they were more focused on themselves. And I would think if you went back to the meeting room space, it probably would be similar. People are so engrossed in their own journey, but it was what caused me to run to, 50 different meetings, 50 plus different meetings in the area, which we say jokingly. I tell that story jokingly, but it really was being afraid of feedback from others and willing to inconvenience myself by driving over the river and through the woods to find another meeting so that I wouldn't be judged by people who didn't know me. Because I thought the people who did know me would look and say exactly what you said. There's Candice. What's taking her so long? Why is she still looking the same? And, when you see other people celebrating successes for a period of time and you're like, oh my gosh, look at how much weight they've lost in 6 months and a year. They're just doing so wonderfully. And you haven't had that kind of success. I think that we manifest our own thoughts and project them onto others, because really what we're thinking other people are going to say is really what we feel about ourselves. That's really all it is.
And then on the odd occasion that there is someone who confirms what we say, it's that confirmation bias thing. All it takes is that one person saying something that we believe, and we assume that all people, because we already thought all people were thinking it, but all it takes is one person to say, oh, wow, well, you don't look any different. Like for me to say, yep, I was right. Everybody thinks that.
What have you been doing? What have you been doing for the whole pandemic?
Right.
And I didn't think I like that term, with the confirmation bias. It's definitely true. And all it takes is that one person, because if 10 people were to say, Rikki, it's so great to see you. I missed you. So glad to have you back. And the one person says, my goodness, you're back and looking exactly the same. You're like, forget it. That's exactly why I do virtual. And that's exactly this.
And we can use it as an excuse to, like, maybe I was more comfortable being at home or like, I don't even know that that's necessarily the truth, but I think there is some fear in change. Like we get used to a certain routine, and then it's like, okay, I have to break this routine and start a new one. But I was at point A when I was doing that routine. Now I'm at point B. My life is very different in a year. I have a different job. I'm living in a different place. I have a dog. Like, there's so many things that have changed, but I think that my mind is catching up in that sense too, of like, life is different now.
Yeah. And see, I'm just surprised at how it's affected me professionally as well. I think we've talked about it from a weight loss perspective, but when you know your value and know your worth, I'm tying it more to confidence too. It's like, I feel if I knew and truly embraced my deservedness of things, like I deserve to take up space. And that was me. I deserve to have a job that accommodates my needs and schedules because I do a quality job. I deserve to go to meetings because not only do I pay for WW, but the whole point is for me to get what I need out of my membership. Because I still struggle with feeling deserving, it makes it that much more difficult to minimize the thoughts and opinions of others because their voices are so loud in my ear and my voice is so muted.
Yeah.
So I was trying and have been really working recently on making my voice louder, and by actually saying out loud to others and saying it to myself, you're worthy. You can do this. You get to wear that outfit. You do this. You get saying it, something about verbalizing it. I think is that affirmations piece that my therapist was trying to get me to, to really buy into, that I minimize. Because I think that plays a part.
Yeah. I think we were kind of mentioning that last week. And I think I said it kind of quoting and referencing what you said about the affirmations, but there's a lot of times where I won't believe it, but it's like, I need to keep saying these things, to these positive things, because the negative things are coming. They just are automatic at that point. But I need to keep saying these things that are not automatic yet. I am worthy. Like you were saying, I am confident. I am capable. I am beautiful. I'm worth all of these positive things until I believe them. And I think there's something to that. I think that's, probably why your therapist stresses the affirmations, because they need to drown out the negative that is automatic now and become the automatic.
I think that, and also challenging, really listening. And I want to we have accountability buddies for food and for drink and for exercise. But I also feel it's important to have like a mental health accountability buddy, like somebody to say, I'm listening to the words that you say. And one of the things that you consistently start off your conversations with is what other people need. And I want you to stop and think about what you need. And if you don't have a buddy, doing that for yourself, because if I listen to my internal dialogue and listen to what I emote to others, it usually starts off with, this person needed me to do this. I'm concerned that this person's going to be inconvenienced. I don't know. And you, Rikki, have been somebody who will say, Candice, but what about what you need? What about that? What about this? Erin will do the same thing to say, what does Candice need? And if we haven't found the ability to do that for ourselves, I think that we should, that's something else that could be a tool, is finding somebody else that you can kind of express what you're feeling and see if they can help you to see a pattern, because there really is a pattern. And sometimes you're not aware of how much you just instinctively go to what others need versus what is best for you. I mean, I almost wanted to give up my dog. I'll never forget. My dog was a yapper. He was cute. God rest his soul, my little prophet dog. But, when you get to the point where you're like, I don't know if I'm going to keep this dog because he just keeps barking and keeps doing this. And he's my dog. See? But my dog liked to use the bathroom where he wasn't supposed to. And it was all about, me not wanting to inconvenience other people. And I'm like, I'm going to give my dog up because he used the bathroom somewhere. Like, are we really going to do that? That's crazy. So,
yeah, it's very easy to fall in that trap because we're so uncomfortable with the story. Like you say, and like Brene Brown says, the story that we've already put in our minds that other people say, and no one said anything to us, or even if one person has, there's some people who are just miserable or just unhappy or just want things their way. It doesn't mean that they are right or that they are even entitled to what they believe they're entitled to.
My husband brought up that I thought was an interesting point. He said, why is everybody on the same level for you? He constantly says that. He says, so you have your family, you have your family or your very, very good friends. And then you have acquaintances, and then you have coworkers, or even further out. And if you're looking at a spectrum, and why is it that I have the same reaction or feel the same need to please, no matter what the level somebody is in my life? I'm willing to go 0 to 100 and do whatever I need to do for somebody who could possibly be an enemy, or at most just a coworker, that I would for my husband, and my son. And he
Yeah.
was like, don't you think that there should be levels of accommodation based
Mhm.
on the importance that they place in your life? He said, your challenge is that everybody has the same access to your emotions and the ability to make you feel a certain way, no matter who they are.
Mhm.
And I wonder if you have to have levels.
That's a good feedback and good thought. And even more so, like with that, I wonder what do we get from the people pleasing? Because I like, why is that a personality trait? I
Yeah.
think about all the times where I've like done things to make someone else happy or to benefit someone else and not myself. And it doesn't give me a sense of happiness. Like, sure, there might be relief that I avoided whatever story I was telling. So let's say I thought, oh, they're going to curse me out or they're going to be mad at me or they're going to hate me. Like, I may avoid something that I didn't even know truly would happen and have that relief or that feeling of like, okay, I did what I was supposed to do. But there's no actual like happiness or joy or other benefit that comes to myself. And it, like we were saying before, even a detriment, there may be a detriment to myself,
Mhm.
but I've have some sense of like, okay, I did what I was supposed to do. So then let's move forward. And I don't think that's healthy.
I feel like this culture rewards selflessness
Mm,
in some way, in some capacity. You get more bravos or pats on the back for being selfless than you do for being you looking out for yourself is selfish or
mhm,
self-absorbed is that's how it's labeled.
mhm,
And I think that because we hear that so much and you don't want that label, um, I think mine was tied to that's just how I received love. Like I got more kudos in my family for doing for others than
mhm,
doing for myself. And that's something I don't want to teach my son. I want him to have balance. You know,
mhm,
you can care about others. Caring about others is important,
mhm,
but you really should do that after you make sure that your needs are met.
mhm.
And why does that even feel uncomfortable for me to say right now? Why
Yeah.
does that feel feel like I have to word that correctly? Like, oh, I'm not saying I want him to be absorbed with himself or to be, but it's such a foreign topic. It's
Mhm.
such a foreign concept because the culture demands that you're selfless, that
Yeah.
you go into the rubble and put yourself at risk. I think of the 9/11 workers and
Mm,
everybody who wanted to go and help. And God bless them. Some people got cancer and other things
mhm,
from going to try to save people.
mhm,
And that's a beautiful thing, but I'm not saying they should not have done that, but
mhm,
the reward is in putting yourself at risk and
mhm,
in doing for others. And if you were to say, "Oh no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go and do this or I'm going to take a mental health day." There are some people who don't use any leave at work. They
mhm,
use none because they want to be that dedicated worker who never goes on vacation,
mhm.
never takes leave, is even if they're sick, they come to work. Why is that valued? Why is it not valued to say I use every bit of leave that I have?
Mhm. And I think there's something too to that makes it seem like it's like, oh, well, they're reliable. They're reliable. But like, why does reliability have to be in I'm always there for you when you need it, but
Mhm,
I'm not there for me? Like that's a positive quality. And I think something that people value in this culture too. But at the
mhm.
same time, that reliability, what if it means you're not paying attention to yourself, you're not caring for yourself or your family, it doesn't help you at all. It doesn't help you do the best job you could possibly do. If we're keeping this example in like the work, realm. Like how can you give 100% or give all and not take care of yourself at any point in that time?
And there's so many people I also find that I get jealous of those who have mastered not being that way.
Mm,
And I find myself wanting to label them, but more so out of jealousy. Those who can say, "No, this doesn't fit my needs. This is what I want. This is what I deserve. This is what I shall get." And I'm like, "Well, look at that person thinking that they're such big." But I'm more jealous that how do you have that audacity to
mhm.
just say what you need? and to say, this doesn't work for me. I'm going to do this. And if you're inconvenienced, you're just inconvenienced, but my needs first.
Do you find that people who are like that can be labeled, if it's males, more positively, like, oh, he's assertive, and then if it's a female, it's like, oh, well, she's selfish, she's,
Yep.
or whatever. Like, I think especially in the workplace, a lot of times people who are taking that time for themselves, and taking it back to weight loss too, like going to meetings, are people who take that time for themselves as mothers, or even as single people. Like, are we labeled differently because of our status or because of our, gender? Like, I'm curious to see that too, because I think especially in the workplace, there's a different label for men versus women in assertiveness.
Yes. I think that women especially are seen positively for being, the one who puts everybody first. I put my children first. I put my husband first. I put my family first, me second. And I think that even in things that we're supposed to enjoy, women are called bridezillas. And really, when you think of, now there are some, I'm not saying that everybody,
Right.
but generally it could be just a woman who knows exactly what she wants. I want it this way. This is what I desire for myself. And it's like, well, look at you thinking that you're supposed to get all of these things. I mean, she really is, she's on her high horse. It's, she is inflexible. When you tie it back to weight loss, I don't want to eat here. This is the place I want to eat because it fits into my plan. And not feeling comfortable saying that because you don't want to inconvenience other people who don't want to eat there. Well, I want to eat here.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there she goes again.
Or
I
like,
think it is.
Even like ordering on a menu, like saying like, oh, it's going to take up more time, or, oh, I'm being difficult because I'm asking for all these things that I want. Like, I want a salad, but put this on the side, and I want this. And can you make, like, that's advocating for yourself. But how many times have I probably rolled my eyes at I don't know that I actually have, but it probably is like, oh, wow, I'm surprised that person's being assertive. Whereas I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just order it the way it is, and I'll pick 20 things off of it.
It's When Harry Met Sally. I don't know if you saw that movie, but Meg Ryan, I think, was in it. And she was one who was very assertive. She was like, I want the ice cream, but I want it not too hot, not too cold. I would like it a la mode, but only with caramel ice cream over a fudge brownie with nuts, but not too many. And just a little pour of whipped cream, just a little, but not too much. And he was like, but again, it's always a joke. Everybody knows that scene with her. But like you said, is it just her being assertive? It's just her being confident and saying, I know what I want. I know what I deserve. So we've talked about it for a while, but one of the things that I want to challenge myself to do this week is be okay and comfortable with taking up space and saying what I need. And whether that be with weight loss, saying, I want to go to this restaurant. I'm hungry. I'm ready to eat now. I want to go to this meeting and I'm going to go. I need to exercise in the morning. I need your help, husband, to watch the baby while I exercise. It's okay for me to vocalize what I need. So that's my goal for the week, is to take up space and to say and to walk in my confidence of who I am.
I love that.
How about you?
I think for me this week, I need to focus on doing what I need to do for myself, as far as not being anxious about the dog and whether he's going to disturb other people, to an extent, of course, but just going ahead and creating him and just saying, okay, it's not like I'm not being inhumane. He's going to be here for a couple hours. He's going to have a treat in there. He might bark a little bit. Doesn't mean he's going to bark the whole time. And if he does, he'll learn and that's not giving him what he wants, and he'll learn to relax in it. But if I don't do it, then I'll never know, and I won't get to a point where I can do that on a regular basis. So I need to just suck it up and give it a try.
Yeah. Take up space.
Yeah.
Let him, give you a chance to show you what he can do. And if he barks it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you all for listening today. As you know, you can always find us on Facebook. If you search for Real WW Talk, we're also on Instagram. Rikki has created us a wonderful Instagram presence for us. So you can search Real WW Talk. We're on Connect and YouTube. Just search Real WW Talk. We've made it real easy. That's also our podcast name. We look forward to coming back to you next week with Erin, all three of us, because I think it's been some time since we've had all three. But thank you all for joining, and we'll see you later.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.